said that when he's 15 years old, he read a book by Helen Keller. And that book changed his life. Books can change your life. And in that book, Helen Keller said,
Hello?
So, if you're a cynic, if you're a pessimist,
Hello, testing. Hello. Alright, let's try this out. Hello? Alright, so we're gonna jump into our first game. This time we have Yumyong, YMK versus I don't quite remember his name. But Yumyong will be playing Hunter. He'll be playing against the first player from Colombia who's playing Druid, and it looks like they've already started. Yumyong, of course, is playing his signature face Hunter. And that taunt's gonna be a bit of a problem. It seems like you can just kill command it and hit through it. It looks like that's what he's gonna do. This matchup is basically decided upon how good of a start the Hunter can get off to, and it doesn't look like he's gotten off to a very good start so far. He only has 5 damage to the face, and it's already turn 5, and it looks like the Druid got Wild Growth on turn 2, so he's up to 6 mana currently. So the threat here is that the Druid plays a bunch of large taunts, and it'll be difficult for the Hunter to hit through them. But if the Druid doesn't really have anything good to play on turn 6, it still might be okay for the Hunter here. We'll just have to see. This matchup can be kind of swingy. If the Druid has good ways to deal with what's on the Hunter's board, like if he draws into his swipes, draws into his rafts, draws into his keepers, it can be pretty one-sided in favor of the Druid. Whereas if the Hunter, basically if the Druid doesn't draw into his taunts, unfortunately, he probably teched up against this matchup, so he probably has quite a number of taunts. But basically if Yumyong can find a way through the taunts, then he should be able to do okay. So here he'll probably just Arcane Golem and do a little bit of juggling. Hopefully this hits the Senjin. Nope. So he'll have to run his Spider into it now. And that was a good order that he did it. Now this ensures that the Spiders hit face. The only threat here is if he has Swipe, because he can just easily clear Yumyong's board. Yeah, this is part of the one of the scary things about Druid. It's just how much mana ahead he can be sometimes. So you see he's currently 3 mana. He's playing 3 mana ahead of the Hunter here. And one of the reasons why the Druid is so good in the current meta. Or at least definitely so if he got Wild Growth in the beginning of the game. But of course Hunter is also a really strong class. It's simply because they hit face and you can do nothing about it sometimes. So it looks like he teched Hogger in this matchup, which is actually a very, very swingy card. What's unfortunate about Hogger is that it generates taunts every single turn, so it can be difficult for Yumyong to hit through those taunts. What'll probably end up happening here is that Yumyong probably use his Eaglehorn bow, his weapon, to hit into the 2/2. And he'll play the Abusive Sergeant on the Knife Juggler. Hope. Actually, that's not completely true. Cause, Well, he could take a chance here. We'll see. Oh, wow, that worked out perfectly for him. Another move worthy of consideration at that right here would have been to adjust hero power instead of play the same trap. Though I think this is slightly better because he has a Knife Juggler out. But it looks like it's going to get swiped away. Yeah, Druid... No, because we get to know each other's classes for this matchup, Druid probably just put in a bunch of tech choices to beat Hunter, which is really unfortunate. But with a couple good top decks, Yumian can still technically win this. Just depends on how much taunt he has left in his deck. Also, the Druid could also be running into heal bots to heal up.
I must safeguard the land. Where shall I strike?
Okay, so the fact that he put that in... Okay, that's a good top deck. That's a fantastic top deck, actually. So Yumian could potentially still win here, depending on what he draws. So, okay, Iron Beak is good. He would have to draw a Charger next turn to make it useful. Yumian also dies to... Oh, that's really difficult. So Yumian probably loses this. I don't see a way... He would have to top deck a Quick Shot into top decking a Kill Command or something. And I think he doesn't even win if that happens. Yep, it's pretty GG here. Well, this goes to show.
Well fought. My greetings.
So what's unfortunate about this matchup is that people are able to... Thanks, Coach. What's important about this matchup is that people are able to see each other's classes. And thus they're able to make key card choices in building their decks in order to counter their opponent's class. Oh, well, it looks like Matt played already. And so we'll see how David does here. So basically, whether we win this match depends on how well David is, or whether David can pull through with this one. So David is playing Priest against Paladin, and this is generally a matchup in favor of the Priest. Priest is also one of those classes that can be difficult to make good card choices against, so it will be more difficult to play tech cards against the Priest than it is against the Hunter, like we saw last game. Let's see if we can get into this game. That's an interesting card. You don't generally see Haunted Creeper being run in Paladin. Though, David has some good cards to deal with it. The Wild Pyromancer can... If he draws Holy Smite, he can deal with the Creeper in a very efficient way. This turn though, he should probably just Hero Power, or just pass. Because next turn you can expect him to play Muster for battle, and you don't want to give him a free kill on your Pyromancer. Alternatively, he could coin out the Dark Cultist, which isn't bad as well. Though if he uses the coin here, he doesn't really have a piece that he can trigger the Pyro with. Okay, so he just chooses to play the Pyro. That's fine. I mean, here he has another one in hand. And maybe this will bait out the Muster.
Get in there and fight, maggot! Reporting for duty.
So what he's really hoping to draw here is a Powered Shield. But this is fine as well. So you can just heal up the Pyro afterwards. I would not be looking at these first couple cards. It looks like he's running a more aggressive version of the Paladin, which is not really popular right now. You don't usually see Abusive Sergeants or Haunted Creepers in this deck in Paladin decks. You could be running Boladin, which is a deck popularized by a pro player called Civics, which runs a bunch of one-attack minions, and then it runs a card called Hobgoblin that buffs all your one-attack minions when they come into play. That'd be interesting. That'd actually be really fun. David though has a pretty good hand. He has the Alternate Circle in case he gets swarmed on the board. Card Dark Cultist is good. It's a regional play next turn. These are kind of late game. They don't really do much right now. Oh, looks like he is running a Boladin. So he'll get punished for this probably. Actually, in fact, David doesn't even need to necessarily Alternate Circle here. He could just sacrifice his Pyromancer into the Hobgoblin. That's first priority kill, and then just drop the Dark Cultist. Because it looks like the Dark Cultist trades with the 2/3/3s already. You could even drop Dark Cultist and play the Zombie Chow. Though it looks like he's just gonna Alternate Circle, which is fine. The next turn you can just drop the Dark Cultist and kill something with this hero power, because the Alternate allows your hero power to deal damage instead of heal. So we'll probably just see him play the Dark Cultist and hero power one of these 1/2s. He might even consider dropping Zombie Chow instead of using the hero power on the 1/2. The 1/2 doesn't seem to be doing an extra 1/2 doesn't seem to be doing very much right now. Whereas the Zombie Chow can help him fight for board control a little bit more.
The dam stand ready.
So he's considering hitting the 3/1 into the 1/2. Or into the guy. That's interesting. So right there, I think he was afraid of a card called Quartermaster, which basically gives a buff to all of the silver hand recruits that are created by the Paladin hero power. Doesn't seem like David is completely familiar with this list though, because a Boladin does not necessarily doesn't really run Quartermaster. He's messaging me that he didn't play it on Blessing of the Kings, which is true, but I don't think you can really account for that.
I wonder. Reporting for duty.
Doesn't look like he has it though. So one of the combos that this Paladin deck wants to do is play this Echoing Ooze, which copies himself at the end of the turn, and this also includes buffs that are played on this Echoing Ooze. So there's this card called Blessing of Kings that you can play and gives a +4/+4 buff to the minion. So at the end of the turn you pay 6 mana for 2 5/6s, which is a really, really good deal. What David just did was play Cabal Shadow Priest, which allows him to take control of any minion with 2 or less attack. So he just decided to take one of the 1/2s. That was a good move, considering that his hand is kind of pretty poor right now. He doesn't really have much to do. He has 2 very low cost cards, and he would just kind of be wasting his mana if he played the 2 low cost cards and just healed himself. Whereas these cards he has to wait until much later to play. Mind Control is actually kind of useless in this matchup because there's nothing really big or game-changing that he can really steal from the Paladin, unless of course he runs Tyrion. That was probably not the correct play by the Paladin there. Yeah, he just gave free help to one of his minions. Not advised. Light Bomb is also kind of a bad card. Doesn't really do much in terms of killing things. You might just Blight Bomb here, actually. I think I would probably just Light Bomb there. I don't foresee him ever needing it in the future. Here I'd probably heal up the 1/1. Yep. That way this 1/2 doesn't kill it for free, and you would have to trade both of these minions into it to kill this. So the problem with this Paladin deck is that it often runs out of steam if it does not draw Hobgoblin. As you can see right now, the minions that he is playing are significantly smaller than the minions that David are playing. And come late game, he'll just have a bunch of really small guys in comparison to this larger Sarah that David has. So it looks like he'll make that trade to kill this guy off. So this is a very smart duel. And what... Oh, that's a very good draw. That's a ridiculous draw right now. Yeah. So David will probably end up taking this game. I don't know why he's hesitating. So this card right here. This card. Oh man. This is the OP of Hearthstone. 7 mana 7/7, which is reasonable. And then it summons 2 1/1s that deal 1 to 4 damage to an enemy at random. So often what this guy does is it takes 1 card to kill the 7/7, and then these 1/1s often end up clearing your opponent's board. So it's like your opponent's trading 3 cards for 1 card. It's ridiculous. And what David was just telling me about was aggressive Paladin decks run a card called Divine Favor, which basically means because they're playing their cards, they're playing more of their cards per turn than you are, generally, and their opponents are generally. They often have 0 cards in their hand, while their opponent has, like, in this case, David had 3 oftentimes it's much more, depending on what kind of deck you're playing. So this allows you just to draw a ridiculous amount of cards for a really low cost. And this card also allows you to draw. But it looks like David should really have this game in the bag at this point. Even if he plays the Hobgoblin, the guy who gives all his one-attack minions buffs, David can still Light Bomb the board away. And it'll probably kill all of his minions. Yep, so it looks like they will probably... Actually, he doesn't even need to Light Bomb here. He can probably just return this Annoyotron back to his hand and then clear up the Hobgoblin and the Knife Juggler. And then he'll win the game from there. Yeah, I would just do that. I would just return that back to the hand. And then you can trade this 2-1 into the 3-2 right here. And you can use his... uses the Sarah to kill the Hobgoblin. I would even consider mind controlling the Hobgoblin. Yep, yeah, so he did it. So you can, it's actually kind of funny. You can actually use it to buff up his North Shard Cleric. And yeah, this game is basically over. Unfortunately, he picked a deck that is not exactly A tier, and is also B is also pretty bad against Priest.
I wonder.
But maybe he pulls something crazy off and comes back. It's nice to see that we have people coming in and watching us play our games. So this is probably Ing. So he's been playing a lot of board control with his deck, which is, I don't know how correct that is. I think at a certain point you're just so far behind that you can't play board control against if you play an aggressive deck. Though really, the paladin never quite dealt enough damage to the priest to even consider just hitting the priest in the face and ignoring their board. That was probably an unfortunate bomb right there. This is nice. So David gets a card draw off of this card's effect. The North Shard Cleric's effect. Yeah, he just does it. Alright, so with that, we beat Columbia 3-2. We got 2 free automatic wins because they turned into last year's late. So yeah, we only technically needed 1 win out of those 3, and apparently we also very much needed those forfeits that we were given. Alright, so I guess I'll be trying to do this for all of our games. Probably have this better organized next time, so we can have all our players play in order so we get to see them all play. But yeah, that's it. If you want to tell me how I'm improving, how to improve my commentary, if you want more information on the cards, kind of the decks, what to expect in each matchup, etc., just whatever comments you have, you should comment. And yeah, thanks guys.